Have you ever had that happen? You catch a whiff of something in the air or taste something familiar, and bam! You're just instantly transported back in time to a place you thought you'd completely forgotten. It's such a wild experience, right? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly how that works. We're going to explore how one simple sensation can unlock a whole universe of lost memories, all thanks to one man and a very, very famous little kick.
So, the writer Marcel Proust, he had this absolutely wild idea about memory. Get this. He thought our past isn't just, neatly filed away in our brains, waiting for us to pull up the right folder. Nope. He believed it's actually out there, in the world, trapped, held captive inside some totally random object. Could be the taste of a piece of fruit, the smell of an old book, and it's just waiting for us to stumble upon it and set it free.
And for Proust, that one material object turned out to be a simple, shell-shaped cake, the Petite Madeleine. See, for years, Proust had almost no vivid memories of his childhood town, Cambrai. It was just this gray fog in his mind. But then, one cold winter day, his mother brings him some tea and one of these little cakes. He's feeling pretty down, just kind of weary and depressed, and without really thinking about it, he dips a piece of that Madeleine into his tea and takes a bite.
And in that single instant, everything changes. A shudder runs through him. This exquisite pleasure, this powerful, all-consuming joy just washes over him. It was a feeling so profound it made all the troubles of his life feel, well, completely insignificant. But here's the thing. He had no clue where it came from. I mean, yeah, it was tied to the tea and the cake, but the feeling itself felt so much bigger than that.
So he's completely baffled, right? He takes another sip, trying to find it again. Then another, but the magic is already starting to fade. And that's when it hits him. The truth isn't in the tea. It's somewhere deep inside him. And that's what kicks off this incredible, almost detective-like investigation inside his own mind, hunting for the source of this powerful, totally unprompted emotion.
And look, this wasn't just him kicking back and waiting for a memory to pop up. No way. Proust launches this deliberate, almost heroic mental quest. He forces himself to shut out every single distraction, to focus only on that one fleeting taste, and to try and make that incredible feeling come back. He describes it as leaning over the abyss of his own uncertainty. I mean, can you imagine the sheer force of will that would take?
And the way he describes this feeling, it's just so physical, so real. It's not just a thought, it's a sensation of something moving inside him. He compares it to a heavy anchor being slowly winched up from the very bottom of his unconscious mind, fighting against all this resistance, the change just echoing through these vast, empty spaces inside him. It's an amazing image.
I mean, that is just an absolutely incredible description of the mind at work. But it begs the question, right? Is this just beautiful flowery language, or was Proust, over 100 years ago, actually describing a fundamental process of the human brain? Well, let's dive into that.
Well, it turns out science absolutely has a name for what Proust experienced. It's called involuntary memory. And it's exactly what it sounds like, that powerful, totally out-of-the-blue recollection that you just can't summon on purpose. You can't just decide to have one. Instead, you're basically ambushed by it, triggered by a smell, a song, or in this case, a taste. So, who's actually trying to crack this code today? Well, you've got researchers like Joan Terra-de-Vidal at the University of Barcelona, and they're right on the front lines. He studies exactly what's going on in our brains when we smell something, and he confirms that, yeah, it's an incredibly difficult field to research, but the power that scent has over our minds, it's absolutely undeniable. And I just love this contrast, because it really gets to the heart of our story, doesn't it? On one hand, you have Proust's method, pure introspection, this beautiful, poetic journey into the dark region of his own mind. And on the other hand, you have modern science tackling the exact same mystery, but with these incredible tools like fMRI scans that can literally map the brain's response to a smell. It's art and science, both chasing the very same ghost of a memory. And the reason the science is just so darn hard is that smell isn't like sight or sound. You can't just show someone a picture. You're literally sending molecules into a person's nose. It takes super expensive, super specialized equipment. So expensive, in fact, that the Dolls team actually had to build their own. And trying to control the timing, it's a total nightmare. It really gives you a new appreciation for the dedication these folks have.
Okay, so with all that science in mind, let's get back to Proust's story. Remember where we left him. He's leaning over that abyss, fighting his own mind, trying over and over again to recapture that incredible feeling. The big question is, after all that struggle,
Does the anchor finally rise? Does the memory finally break through? It does. After that immense struggle, the breakthrough. Just like that. Simple, powerful. The anchor has finally reached the light. And there it is. The memory itself, long buried, completely forgotten. See, it wasn't just the taste of any Madeline. It was the taste of the specific little piece of Madeline that his sick Aunt Leonie used to give him on Sunday mornings in his childhood town of Cambrai, after dipping it first into her own cup of linden flower tea. All those details came flooding back.
Proust's description for this moment is it's perfect. He compares it to those little Japanese paper flowers. You know the ones? They look like nothing, just these tiny, compressed little pellets. But when you drop them in a bowl of water, they suddenly unfold and blossom into these full, beautiful shapes. He says that's exactly what happened in his mind. From that one single taste, his entire childhood town, the house, the streets, the gardens, even the people, it all sprang into vivid, solid life.
But here's the real magic of this story. The reason it has captivated people for over a century. It's not really just about Proust, is it? It's about all of us. Because we all have our own Madeleines. We all have those unique sensory triggers that hold the keys to our own lost worlds.
Just take this story from Gail McCurry. For her, that Madeleine moment is eggplant parmigiana. And that taste, it doesn't just remind her of a meal. No, it throws her right back to that specific, joyful moment of sneaking pieces of fried eggplant from the counter with her brothers and sisters. It's a perfect little snapshot of family and mischief. Or how about this incredibly moving memory from Larry Parker? For him, the taste of codfish cakes is forever tied to his sister. It brings back her happiness in the kitchen and eventually her loss. That one single flavor holds not just a memory, but the entire origin story of his own lifelong love for cooking. That's powerful.
And this story from Cliff Scully is such a powerful reminder that it doesn't have to be some fancy elaborate dish. For her, it was just a simple bowl of pasta with olive oil and cheese. But because she shared it with her mother during some really tough times, it became this profound anchor for comfort and for love. So when you put it all together, the smell of fried eggplant, the flavor of codfish cakes, the comfort of a simple pasta. The point is, Proust's Madeleine might be the famous one, but our own lives are absolutely full of these sensory keys. They're all around us, holding pieces of our past captive, just waiting for us to accidentally stumble upon them. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Proust found his entire past in a cup of tea. Gail found hers in eggplant parm. Larry in codfish cakes. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's your Madeleine? What forgotten world, what long-lost memory is just waiting for you, hidden away in some simple taste or fleeting scent?